Attention gamers, scripting and League of Legends go together like peanut butter and jelly. Peanut allergies, because while the rest of us are losing our mental sanity by playing this piss pit of a game every day, there's a group of basement-dwelling turbo virgins ridden with gooch sweat from their last aggressive FAP sesh using literal cheat codes to win their games, and the problem boils down to this. These coat hanger dodging womb evacuees using cheats aren't going to stay in the land of the mouth breathers for long. They will float to the tippy top of the ladder, which makes even less sense considering iron accounts sell for way more, but this causes the shilling folks up there to deliver gripping monologues like this on stream.
When do you think Riot is gonna ban this guy who openly hacks? He openly hacks. Openly hacking, by the way. He streams it on Twitch when he's hacking. When is this guy gonna get punished?
This takes place in front of hundreds of thousands of viewers every day as Riot does nothing until people start to say screw League. I would rather climb infinite amounts of floating objects in my undersized t-shirt until I reunite with my father who got lost 12 years ago on his way to get milk from the store. Riot sees this and says, I know what will stop the bleeding, let's take the LCS out back and shoot it in the head like a rabid dog. So then viewership starts to bleed and League creators like myself start seeing subscriber graphs looking more like line rider maps, and that, my friends, is why this is a problem. What's even worse is that in an age where AI is getting so advanced it can trick me into popping a boner over a text-generated chick, you can imagine these scripts are getting so advanced that they are barely detectable, let alone they can be toggled on and off to keep potential reporters on the Rift from getting too sus. So today I got footage from an account where many sources tell me is one of the most notorious scripters, and I have to say, if I had this much trouble telling the difference between what is scripting and what is not, then the two apes with their dicks stuck in a Chinese finger puzzle aka Riot Games doesn't stand a chance of finding this and fixing it. But I want to know if you can detect where the douchery is going down in the following games while telling you if you ever feel the need to use a third-party tool to improve your win rate. There's plenty that actually comply with Riot's terms. For example, last week I decided I was too happy in life so I would be starting my rank climb up again, which you can view on my Boosted Betty channel, but I asked which companion app is the best, and by far the fan favorite recommended to me was Professor. So I reached out to my agent, who is just the greedy version of myself, to see if I could get a paid gig, and let me just say, Professor is the best way to improve at League with the power of data. It offers runes and build recommendations based off of the highest win rate statistics that can be imported right into your client. There is a smart card scouting report on all the players in the game that tell you who to look out for and who is just an auto-filled trash can. It gives you live stat overlays in game so you know where to focus your efforts, as well as a metric butt ton of stats graphs and endgame analytics that break the game down in a way that helps you improve the fastest. It's all completely free and you can get it today by using my link below. Okay, so game 1, our focus is on the basic skin bitch Ash here, who is supposedly scripting, but right off the bat I'm thinking the dumb hoe forgot to toggle the cheats on because she deep throats the first thing that comes her way like she's on a casting couch, but they still win the trade. Then their first birthday comes before the enemy, so obviously this interaction turns abusive, but I'm still thinking this is just a classic case of one team sucking each other's nipples while the other team gets a level 2 advantage and uses it. And the dirty asshole even cancels autos that would have got her a kill and then sticks around long enough for the spokesperson of Diabetics Anonymous to pay her a surprise visit. So as of now I'm thinking no sussy scripting going down here. But keep in mind these micro penis pumping cheaters can toggle it off and on, and a few minutes later I saw some movement that had my eyebrows more erect than a high schooler on a Dan Bilzerian yacht. I think it's the dodges that start to bust her botting cover because her character is moving the split second the animation starts before you can even see what direction it's being shot, and this started happening on every ability they tried to introduce to her. And I guess pop enough Python code up your poo hole and eventually you get a big health advantage, which as an ADC means time to duct tape your right click button down and just run at these shit stains until one of those kids who are actually trying to play the game legit without cheating gets killed. At this point, if there was a script called Overly Aggressive Cock Goblin, then she just flipped it on along with her dodging douche cheats, and so I guess this is what having a 75% win rate in Challenger on all ADCs looks like in lane. But one thing I've learned from my own descent into depression by playing solo queue is that there are still 4 other people that need to not be shitting the bed and smearing it all over each other for you to carry, and I'm starting to think that might be her downfall here as she joins a fight only to get abandoned in a river like a Chinese ginger stepdaughter, but turns out she has scripts that have her spacing harder than a fucking NASA astronaut, so she gets a kill from the mob that was chasing her, and then when the enemy team's Yasuo proves that windshitter syndrome doesn't discriminate against elo, she grabs that free donation and then presses on. And I'm here with my greasy dick in hand wondering how a Rioter can detect this when to me it looks like just a standard ADC playing Rock Band on their right click key getting lucky with a few dodge predictions. Especially in the next play where she fires her ult at the ghost of Kai'Sa's past, making me think the aimbot isn't engaged, but I guess that's why this particular failed abortion of an IRL jizz stain to society is playing ADCs, as it becomes much less obvious when you are on a right click chick. That said, it almost seems like she activated a script that made the people who apparently have committed their life to getting Challenger in this game and knowing everything about it to forget that focusing the Fed ADC is teamfights 101 level bullshit, as she's being pursued less than a pussy at a gay bar. She even flashed into danger, failed to finish a kill and almost died because of it. They breached the base like it was D-Day in Normandy, and while skill shots aimed at her were still mostly hitting her voicemail, the team fights mainly just looked like a Fed ADC who knows how to auto-attack run or whatever the fuck that mechanic is, because it was obvious by her greed that she was still controlling something in these fights. That said, you can clearly see this player doesn't deserve to be in the literal top 200 players in the world when half the time she's more out of position than a Kanye album at a synagogue, and while the skill shot dodge script was definitely still intact, I almost feel like this player uses just a few scripts early to get an advantage, and then once you get fed enough as an ADC you can put any Tom, Dick or Harry into the game, tell them that the mouse button on their middle finger is the one they click, and they will be able to carry in any elo. So while the scripts weren't floppy dick in your face obvious, it definitely shows how they are ruining the integrity at this rank, and in the second game there were some more obvious instances of this bullshit. In this one our handy dandy hacker is on Plasma Patty with the deflated Elephant Rider as her support. I feel like his go-to move is to eat the first ability straight in the face so that nothing is sus when he dodges the next 600 in a row. That said, judging off of this Blitzcrank's apparent blood alcohol level, I don't think scripts are in order, as him and Obama fall victim to being those shitters you see on the news who got ganked good as the Mr. Simps for cigars comes in to steal the first blood kill. Anyways, they call for him to come down again, say hey, invite the whole crew, we will throw a cookout, roast a pig, you know, piss off some vegans. And speaking of which, Ivern comes down to participate as our Challenger player lets her inner silver come out by positioning worse than a carbon fiber submarine 2 miles below sea level, so she gets popped, showing how a shit player can get carried by scripts. Anyways, the chances of this blitz landing a hook are still lower than my chances of taking Madison Beer to prom, but this particular fuckfest gets interrupted by the fact that everyone and their Uncle Hank are bot lane again, as if they have Prime in stock or some shit, because people are traveling long distances to be here. Our protagonist runs her cheat to Challenger program as administrator, which turns on proper positioning plus more dodge than a goddamn Durango, which long story short gets Pluto Simp Kitten Blitzcrank put on the bench as Kai'Sa almost gets herself killed, but Flash in C++ activates to save the day. Oh, check this shit out, with no vision the bitch just miraculously knows where to fire her W. Now it looks like the failed abortion is setting up something insidious with her support, as she's just pacing back and forth like she's holding in the shit of her life, just waiting for the right opportunity to bait Obama in, and then it's time to activate the win fight scripts with the fastest reaction speed ult ever to get out of the Lucian ult. But despite the cheating, this still ends in a 1-for-1. This must leave that pistol-popping president feeling pretty high and mighty, cuz in his mind he just beat a botter, but unfortunately he also has the map awareness of a plastic water bottle, so he gets rolled and ripped a new one. Hey, why don't we just have our script fire another W? But in all seriousness, if I were to step up to mid-wave as an ADC alone, I would get flamed worse than Annie's stepmom's house, so who the hell let Lucian into this rank either? That said, the combination of scripts for Kai'Sa and stupidity for Lucian has her Giga Chad status, so the only cheat she needs on now is the one that protects her mid-fight from getting hit by anything, and this is looking like free LP for the loser. And I want to remind you that this player we are watching is ranked in the top 200 in the world right now. Like this player who responds to her support getting a pick by ulting deeper into danger, where even the most purely written Python code can't get her out of his 1k LP in Challenger. So yeah, I think this is a bit of a problem in the current day, where you can take your average gold 3 skill level ADC, let them run a few programs on their computer, and all of a sudden Rift Alexa is rapid fire announcing their name in Challenger games as the one who has the girthiest carry cock, and I don't think Riot either has the resources to detect such toggleable bullshit, or they just flat out don't care, because skin sales are soaring. So all I can really say is, good thing these fucks don't stay in silver too long, so it's not my problem. Subscribe to my channel, brush your teeth tonight, and as always, Rav out.